Welcome to Grounding Ascension, where we explore topics around activating and integrating our I am presence, coming back to our true selves. I am your host, Celeste Glus. Aloha and welcome back to the holiday series on well-being during the holidays. So last week we spoke about how important it is to align to your cycle in order to maintain a healthy, sustainable, long-term wellness routine. And today we're going to actually be talking about wellness in general through the holiday season, which tends to be quite a topic at this time, right? So two main topics today. One, I'm going to be talking about the energetic quantum leap that the holiday season represents. Now, maybe you don't resonate with those terms, but stick with me, okay? We have to understand that the holiday season on an energetic level, it's called the holy day season, right? It's a season of massive quantum leaps energetically. And bringing awareness to this fact will make living the holiday season a lot more practical and livable for you. And the second topic I will be talking about is managing this current crisis that we're in, given the limited options of movement and community, right? Mind-body wellness in support of not gaining the quote-unquote holiday 15 that eventually triggers an overwhelming amount of anxiety in January, right? Which leads us to create unrealistic goals that we eventually just let go of. So what I would suggest right now is to simply commit to a new way of perceiving the holiday season, right? Give yourself that gift of well-being and mental focus and physical wellness to show up for yourself during this holiday season. So January doesn't hit you like a ball of flashing lights that you didn't know was coming at you, right? Let's get ourselves to this present moment and decide, perhaps write down, press pause, 3 reasons why you should stick to a wellness routine. And I say write it down because obviously we're going to be in situations or gatherings, or we're going to be around food and people and conversations that might trigger us. And this is mind, body, emotional well-being, right? I'm not just talking about food, I'm talking about everything. So give yourself 3 reasons right now to come back to when you feel on edge or on the verge of breaking this holiday wellness challenge or lifestyle or perception. And just before I get into it, just a reminder, I am running right now a holiday wellness challenge for 60 days that is taking us into 2021. So if you do feel like you need some support in that, definitely check out my 60-day holiday wellness challenge. I would love to see you there. Okay, so let's get straight into it. Wellness and leveling up during the holiday season. Why is it so hard for so many of us to maintain a healthy and balanced routine during the holiday season? Outside of what I already mentioned, right? I'm going to give it as a fact that you already know. You'll be around family, you'll be around desserts, you'll be around those sugar, carb-rich foods and drinks that you don't necessarily see all year round. So let's just put that aside for a moment, okay? Let's talk about what the holiday season actually represents energetically and why these things are triggered in your experience, right? Your life experience is caused by so many things outside of what we perceive to be physical. So this is where I get into this quantum leap thing that I mentioned before. The holiday season represents a massive energetic portal. And what that means for us is that it's an opportunity to level up. And this is why I said wellness and leveling up during the holiday season. When we level up, we have a chance to change karma, to change DNA, to change old belief systems, to change programs that have been in our heritage, in our ancestry, in our blood, in our being, for millennia, for generations. However it is that you perceive time and space, the holiday season is an amplification. It's an opportunity for us to step outside of what no longer serves and choose something new. Because we're in an energetic portal and gateway, these opportunities are magnified. So specifically right now in the US, it starts already this weekend with the 11/22 going into Thanksgiving weekend, and then we have an eclipse at the end of the month, which then leads us all through the December and January gateways. So this is a massive push forward for all of us. And this is why in the holiday season, when we get around family and friends and conversations, yes, we have a great time. And for those of us that are doing the work, you right now listening, you know that these are situations and circumstances that bring up old family patterns, old conversations and things that don't necessarily serve the highest good. But the trick is, if it's coming up, it needs to be seen. It needs to be looked at. It needs to be sat with. You can't just walk away and say, oh, that's just Uncle Timmy or whatever, right? This is where the work happens in these quantum leaps, in these holiday seasons. So how do we manage this quantum energetic portal where we are being triggered and we're also trying to maintain a healthy and balanced mental and physical state? I think if you walk into this season understanding what I just said, you'll be a little softer with yourself and with those around you. So when you see the shit hit the fan in your family party or your gathering or whatever the case, or when you see a conversation go left field, you automatically can tap in and say, whoop, here's that quantum leap. What do I get to do? How do I get to perceive this? How do I get to show up for this moment, right? Whether you're in it or you're observing it from another family member, you get to walk in with a higher conscious awareness. And that, my friend, is tremendously powerful for those family members that don't know what's going on. And no, you don't need to go into your holiday party and tell everybody, hey, we're in a quantum leap right now, so I want you to tap into your hearts and be different. It doesn't work that way. They're going to think you're crazy and it doesn't make sense, right? But if you can simply know this within your being, that this holiday season and every holiday season is a major quantum shift, whether you choose it to be or not, depends on you and those around you. But you don't have to put this on the people around you. You get to take responsibility for yourself, and that inherently will create ripples of transformation in all the people around you. So if you have this perspective, if you have this mentality, if you walk into these gatherings, whether it's at work or at home or with your beloved friends, whoever is around you, you can approach it from this place of, there's a possibility that something may go down, that I may be triggered, that I'm going to feel extremely uncomfortable. And instead of reacting, I get to change my DNA, my karmic lesson, my ancestry, all of these things. I have an opportunity, if this happens, to change my response, to approach it from a new perspective. And that's the gift of the holiday season with the quantum leaps. Understand too that people who are not aware of this, your friends, your family members, if they are unconscious of this fact, which I do believe that 98% of people are, they're unconscious of the fact that the holiday season is a huge quantum portal, then that gives you more of a responsibility to anchor in deeply into your heart and understand that when people start to lose their shit, when they start to get really anxious and they think about it this way, right? Because I don't want to start cursing and go crazy, but basically what happens in these higher energetic portals is, this is what I talk about in all of my fasting podcasts and all of my up-leveling quantum DNA courses, right? Like, what happens is that people are being put under tremendous amounts of energetic pressure. They don't see it physically, they're completely unaware of it, but their subconscious is being almost stripped open, bare naked, and all of their fears and anxieties and all of the things that they don't have time or energy or willpower to look into, it's all coming to the forefront, except they're not aware of it. This is why the holiday season can be so triggering if you're unconscious even more, because you're basically inside a pressure cooker, and the spirit realms or the energetic realms or your higher self, your soul, whatever you want to call it, is just waiting for you to be like, hey, remember that thing that happened when you were 3 years old? This is the opportunity to change that, right? But if you have people around you that are unaware of that, they're simply going to react, and it's not going to be pretty. So it's our responsibility, you and I listening and speaking, to remember that and to create from that place of well-being and stabilizing energetically our environments that we are in at this time. And so how is this related to your wellness? Well, that's tremendously related to your wellness and your well-being, right? If you're around a place with a lot of anxiety and stress and high-level conversations, then this creates a tremendous amount of pressure for your body and your energy centers, right? Your heart, your third eye, your digestive system. Like, we are all built so quantumly different that our wellness, our hormones, our adrenals, all of these things are going to be affected very differently. So when you think of eating under pressure or resorting to technology because the environment around you is unhealthy, these are all of the things that are affecting our well-being. And this is why I specifically said our wellness during the holiday season, because it's not just about eating healthy and having a workout routine. This is a holistic approach to living. And so if we are able to approach the holiday season from this perspective, it is truly going to anchor you into a deep sense of surrender and stillness. And again, it's not that you're not going to be triggered, but you will have the internal technology or foundation to create a more stable and well holistically centered routine. Okay, so some tips as to dealing with these situations and keeping yourself stable and well during these times. First and foremost, you may not like this one depending on your perception of what's happening out in the world, but go outside, get fresh air, ground, spend some time in nature, even if that means taking your dinner and having just the closest people around you to sit in a table where you can just have fresh breeze, or you could see the trees outside of you. Going outside and putting your feet on the ground, even if it's just for a few minutes here and there, will tremendously impact your well-being during the time of this season. Second, move. Movement is our medicine. Make sure that you are working out, that you are taking your walks, that you are going out for a bike ride, whatever it takes. If you can't do any of that, find a 15-minute stretch routine on YouTube that you can do in the morning and at night. When we move, we are quite literally shifting our energetic field. So it's quite literally the foundation of being able to maintain and ground this entire process, to be able to stabilize and center ourselves in a holistic, healthy way. Next, find a community that gets you. And this is really important for those of you that feel like nobody understands you. You're the only one in your family that is holding the light or understanding these kinds of concepts. And so you get around other coworkers or family members and shit hits the fan and nobody gets anything that's happening, right? First of all, congratulations to you. You are the candle in the midst of the chaos. Keep at it. Second, find a community, whether it's online, whether it's with me, whether it's on Instagram, whatever it is, you need to have people that you can express yourself to. This is one of the biggest hurdles that I came across through the very beginning stages of my spiritual awakening. I didn't have people to share what I was living through. And that created a tremendous amount of pressure within me that then did affect my health negatively. So we can't undermine the importance of having a community or having someone that you can speak to just to simply share your feelings, your emotions, and the situations that you're living. Another wellness hack to consider, especially when you are at a family gathering, is to find creative ways to not necessarily be sitting at the table or hovering over the dinner area for extended periods of times, right? I come from a Latin family, and what we would do was just sit at the table for like a 5-hour stretch. And that table was constantly being refilled with new foods, right? And so if you're sitting there for 5 hours, of course, whatever's in front of you, and if everybody around you is digging in, well, chances are that you might too. So get creative. What else can you do? Can you get up and move to a different table with other people? I'm not saying to isolate yourselves. I'm saying, can you switch the topic and have people move away from food, or maybe clear the table and set up a board game or whatever, right? Try not to resort to TV and technology, right? That's my point. Like, don't just get up and sit down on a couch, because, you know, that kind of defeats the purpose of the holidays and connecting with people, which we so desperately need at this time. Find ways to have fun, build a fire, go outside, write, speak, create, I don't know, have fun, play, design, have art stuff happening, you know, whatever it is, get creative. It really helps to have younger people around. When you have younger children or just people with open minds, they're more open to doing different kinds of things as opposed to just sitting down in front of food for 5 hours. So just get creative and allow yourself to explore what other possibilities there are. And last one, specifically for my ladies out there, cyclical living. Oh my goodness, I am almost done with my journal and I can't freaking wait to get it out there. But learn what season of your cycle you're in. If you missed last week's episode, go back, figure out, learn, sit with the power of aligning to your cycle. Why is that important? Ladies, if you don't know that you're in your fall time, pre-menses, and you're going into a holiday work party and you are just over everything and everyone, of course you're not going to have the attitude, the wherewithal, the energy to uphold certain conversations, right? But what do? You go in knowing that you're in your fall time, pre-menses time, and so you navigate conversations differently. You approach people from a different perspective. You keep conversations shorter or more aligned to what's more important for you at that time. And that's different for every season, right? So giving yourself the ability to know where exactly you are in your cycle changes the entire dynamic of every single interaction that you have. And most of the time, women that are losing it or unable to kind of handle the holiday overwhelming energy, it's because we're not connecting to our cycles. So a big part of this, these months, especially with the portals and the gateways, it is affecting our cycles tremendously. So keep that in mind. Notice if your cycle is shifting and it's no longer the same length. Notice if you are being asked to sit down and just honor the time of your bleed, or just honor the time of your fall season, right? These things will, at least for me, they've changed my entire demeanor, and I'm able to better navigate every single situation simply by knowing what season I'm in. I read this amazing quote the other day on being able to honor our seasons. And it said something like, imagine you going to the doctor and the doctor telling you, yeah, don't worry about your circadian rhythm. That's not important. You don't have to worry about it. If you're falling asleep at night, just drink some coffee and try to stay up all night because, that's just what you have to do. And then in the morning time, maybe you take a nap. That sounds crazy. It sounds absolutely crazy. I mean, your circadian rhythm basically regulates your hormones so that you do get the appropriate rest. And so when we as women don't align or don't honor our seasons, it's the same thing. It's like being in your menses and then being like, it doesn't matter. It's not important that I'm bleeding right now. I'm just going to pretend that I'm in summer. It's crazy. Your hormones are completely doing the opposite thing. Like, how could you possibly believe that that's sustainable long term? And add to that the holiday season, the conversations, the gatherings, the portals. Forget about it. You have every right, if you are not connecting to your cycle, to lose your shit in the holiday season. I get you. You don't have to live that way. And that's the whole point of this podcast. And this actually leads me to my next topic of conversation, which is how to actually navigate these portals, these gateways that we're in right now, amidst the family obligations, the expectations, all of these things that we are experiencing. First and foremost, carve out sacred self-care time. I don't care if that means you are the last one to go to sleep and you take a bath alone with a candle, or you just go outside for a nature walk by yourself or with somebody that you love and don't have enough time or energy for. Whatever, X, Y, Z, the list goes on forever. Carve out sacred self-care time and do whatever it takes for you to do that. You must be able to prioritize, most especially at this time, in order to create the foundation, the soil for your well-being, right? If you're going at 110 miles an hour and you're showing up for everybody and everything around you and you're not aligning to your cycle, and then you have to show up for all of these expectations and holiday obligations, how could you possibly expect yourself to sit down at a dinner table and honor your body with a healthy choice and a healthy meal or whatever it is, right? Our sacred self-care time is priority. Even if you have kids, even whatever is happening, give yourself that time and allow yourself to open up to receive support and help from other people. I know a lot of times women have a hard time. We have a hard time asking for help. But if that's what it takes, do it. Maybe the next gathering or obligation that you have to show up for, maybe you don't stay the entire 5 hours or 2 hours. Maybe you spend half of the time at that obligation and then you get home earlier and give yourself that self-care time for 30 minutes, right? Prioritize and understand that your well-being is foundational and comes before your ability to show up for other people. And also give yourself a heads up on the fact that we are in a gateway and on a quantum leap. And our bodies are being put under tremendous amount of pressure, energetically, spiritually, emotionally. I feel this tremendously on a day-to-day basis. And oftentimes I do have to reschedule a lot of things that I plan on doing because my body or the day doesn't allow for me to get my way. And I always end up looking back and being grateful for it. So just understand that we're in quantum leap mode. And that means that our mind can't make the decisions for us 100% of the time. There has to be a balance between mind and heart. And so when you take that approach, you allow yourself to flow a little bit more with the divinity, with the higher plan, with something that you don't necessarily know is happening and working towards your benefit until you're able to look backwards with hindsight. Now, one more thing that I do highly recommend, although I know it can be a little hard to do, and I'll give you an option, like A separate option is fasting, right? I'm not going to talk about why it's important. I've done a lot of podcast episodes around fasting with portals, right? And we're in a bunch of portals right now. But what if you took the approach, and I love doing this, of creating certain days of your week or your gatherings and making it as simple as possible? For example, today I'm just going to be doing a fruit fast, and I'm just going to have fruits for the day. Oh my goodness, the amount of stress and relief that I feel when I do that for myself is tremendous. It's mind-blowing every single time, really. You can do a juice cleanse. You can just simply say, I'm just going to have juices today because that's what feels good. So yeah, let's try that for a day and see how that sits with my body. And I promise you, especially during this time, you're going to really enjoy the benefits from those simple choices that, as a matter of fact, make your life that much easier. So I give you that little invitation for you to play around with and think about the portals that are coming up. The 11/22, which is this weekend, the 12/21, which is a huge gateway. The 12/12 is also a huge gateway. 1/1 and 1/11 into January. These are massive portals that I highly suggest you write down in your calendar and make sure that you prepare your body and your mind before then. Don't wait until 12/21 to do a water fast, please. Okay? Because then that's when your body loses its shit. You need to prep your mind and body slowly and gently. And this is the reason why I'm doing this podcast now. What else can you do in regards to making your life more practical and simple in these next few weeks coming up? First and foremost, I love to create my own recipes and bring my own meals to gatherings and holiday parties. Why? I have a lot of food restrictions. It's just what I do because it makes me feel better. So if I know that I'm going to somebody's house and they use dairy and cream and alcohol and all of these lists of things that I detoxify my body from all year long, why would I plunge into that in the middle of a gateway portal during the holiday season, right? So there's no offense. I simply let the cook know, this is my situation. I am more than happy to help you. So I either create my own recipes or I pick up food that will help me stay aligned to my well-being. And I obviously bring, as if it were a potluck, enough to share with other people, right? And it never fails, ever, year after year. I always create this amazing raw vegan pumpkin pie. Incredible, right? But people sometimes don't think in those terms. I promise you, every single year, that's the first dessert that runs out because it's so incredibly healthy that people can't believe how good it is. They don't even know it's raw. I don't even say it's raw. I just say it's a pumpkin pie. And then when they ask me for the ingredients and how I made it, that's when they just lose it, right? But these are just little things that you can do. Maybe you don't have time to create your own meals and desserts, but go in with a plan to abide by and honor the sacredness of your body, honor the sacredness of these passages, because what you choose to integrate with in your body, what you put inside your body, directly affects your ability to navigate the holiday season in a healthy and holistic way. Another great tip, don't show up completely hungry, right? If you show up starving at a holiday party, what's going to happen, right? Give yourself as if it were just a regular day. Have your lunch, have a pre-dinner meal at home if that's what helps you stay more centered and full, right? Satiated longer. So that way when you walk in, you're not just ravaging whatever it is that's on the table. Have a plan and stick to it. And with that comes your ability to really stand up for your value system, right? Because yeah, sometimes it's uncomfortable. Sometimes you will have fears come up about what will people think? What are they going to do? I'm bringing in my own food. I'm not accepting the sugars and the white flour, X, Y, and Z, right? Understand that you are the candle in the middle of the storm. You are lighting the way and showing others that it's possible to enjoy yourself and to also honor yourself and to also hold the light for others around you. It never fails again during this season. Somebody will approach me with health questions, and whether they make those behavioral changes or not in their lives, they at least received that conversation, which could down the line change their approach to their well-being. But it has to start somewhere, and I challenge you to take on that responsibility for yourself. And lastly, I think this is the best note to finish with our entire conversation is balance is key, right? So this is not about having this unhealthy, unrealistic, closed off perception of what everybody else around you is doing and thinking. That is not the case. I promise you, that's going to leave you down a dark, nasty rabbit hole, and you're going to be isolated and just feel completely left out, right? That's not good. One of the pleasure principles of the divine feminine energy is to understand that we are pleasure-seeking beings, and it is so delightful for us to really anchor in to what provides pleasure for our bodies and our minds and our energy field and our hearts. So if you have that one family member who makes the most amazing pumpkin pie with all of the things that you perhaps don't eat during the year, don't close yourself off from having a piece of that, thinking you're going to die if you're going to eat it, right? Enjoy it. Make it a pleasurable experience. Have honor and gratitude for the person who made it, or maybe you like to make it, right? Try to have more of a balanced approach to the entire dynamic, because I also fell into the trap of if I don't make it, I don't eat it. And that didn't work out long term. It wasn't healthy, it wasn't sustainable, and it also made the people around me feel very uncomfortable and unaccepted. So it is also very important to find a balance within yourself. Have your values, have your priorities, and also understand that one little drink or one little dessert or that amazing pumpkin pie that your aunt makes every year is not going to affect you or drown you in failure, right? Sometimes the pleasure principle asks us to devour the beauty and essence of life, and that can take shape in a myriad of ways. So I definitely want to finish this podcast with the key of balance, so much needed at this time. So basically, make a decision for yourself now. Write down those 3 reasons why you feel that sticking to a wellness foundational routine is going to benefit you long term. It's not going to put on any excessive mental or physical strain. In fact, it will help you keep your calm during the holiday portal gateway passages, and how having a perception of balance and community and love is going to help you anchor in to those wellness routines long term, way past the holiday season. Again, I'll remind you, I am hosting the 60-day holiday wellness challenge. It is not too late to sign up. I am going through what it means to have a cyclical living routine, understanding cyclical living, understanding connecting to our cycles. And that includes bar workouts, it includes meditations, and it also includes weekly live Zoom calls for support. So if you're into that stuff and you would like to have a community throughout this holiday season, I welcome you to join us. I'd love to have you there, and I'd love to continue this conversation. So until next time, my friends, mwah, happy holiday season.